All right. So tonight, y'all, we got a good one for you tonight. Yes, we do. We're talking about sex. Yes, we're getting all into it. We're getting deep with it. We got guests coming, and I want you guys to stay tuned. You are going to like this show. If y'all ready. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your man, KTJ, and welcome to Love Coach Live here. And I'm glad to do it. We got a great show today. We got a great guest today. She is Ashley Cobb, also known as Sex with Ashley. How you doing, Ashley?
How are you doing? I'm good.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, just to give people a little background, I met you on the set of Love uh, Love Match. What's the name of the show? I can't even
Love,
say it.
love Match Atlanta.
Love Match Atlanta. Uh,
Mhm.
Ashley, we were just kind of like saying hello. I had no idea you was going to actually be on the show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was cool to make that connection, and it's just I love it. You never know how things are going to turn out. So, glad we connected on. I think at that moment we connected on IG,
hmm
and I happened to see some of your a couple of your lives or TikToks or something come up, and I was like, oh, so they sending
No questions.
real questions, real stuff. So, Ashley, tell the folks kind of who you are, and they didn't expect this. I'm sure from seeing you on the show, but you are the one. It's you.
So I am a sex expert. I'm a sex advice columnist for Madame Noir. So I talk about sex. I answer people's sex questions. So that's what I do for a living. And then I also work with a not HIV work in HIV prevention also. So I do that too.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let me just say hello to some folks. I normally put this in multiple places. I normally put it on my personal Facebook page as well. Not today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not today. We got some folks. Hey, Keisha. Keisha's checking in with us. Kiana is checking in with us. Hello. Miss Miss Sharp is here. Thank you guys so much. We got our folks checking in on the Facebook side. So I'm going to be fielding questions. You guys, if you got questions, you can drop your questions here, um, and we're going to go. So the title of the show is 10 Things You Must Know About Sex. Now, of course, Ashley, there's way more than 10. Right. But I just I like that those kind of round numbers as far as what we could talk about. So just jumping off before we get into the kind of the questions that you answer, um, give me five, and let's talk about them. Like five things. What do people really need to know? Give me five things that people really need to know about sex.
One, sex is a learned activity. I think people automatically assume because you meet someone and that y'all have chemistry that is going to be our fireworks and shooting stars automatically the first time.
Mhm.
That is not true in most cases. Sex is something that you have to learn. You have to learn your partner, what they like, what they dislike,
Mhm.
and then it becomes, it can grow over time. With that being said, there also is a thing called compatibility. So
Mhm.
sometimes people are just not compatible after you try different things and it's just not working. Sometimes you're just not compatible with people. Sometimes it's just not a fit. So there's a
Mhm.
thing too. Women, your orgasm is important. You should be prioritizing your pleasure with
Mhm.
every partner that you're with. I've talked to a lot of women who never had orgasms ever, or they do is only in their alone time.
Mhm.
Nothing. Also, I think this is what four. Sex can be pleasurable if you do not have an orgasm. So, like,
Mm.
an orgasm does not have to happen every time, but it should be happening most times. You can
Mm.
still enjoy sex without having an orgasm. Um, 5. Let's see, 5. I don't think size matters that much.
Hmm.
There are people who like what they like, but there are ways around it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's positions and things you can try, and I think it's more about girth per se
Mm-hmm.
than length. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so those are my 5.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about that compatibility thing.
Okay.
How do you know if you are compatible with somebody? Like, how do you know?
A few things like sexual chemistry is a thing, right? Sometimes you try with people and it's just not there. Like you're just not, you don't have the chemistry. They don't have the same rhythm that you have.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work. Like you try different things, you talk about different things. Well, let's try this, let's try that, and it's still not working. That's probably a compatibility thing. Like I know people, and I have people in my life who it just wasn't a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
Even with like let's go back to size thing. The vaginal canal for most people was like 4 to 5 inches, maybe a little longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, sometimes, if someone has 10 inches,
Mm-hmm.
that it don't fit. It's not a fit. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fit for the person. And then like some people like certain things that you don't like. Some people may be into certain things that are not your thing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a compatibility issue.
Yeah. So that's interesting. One of the questions that I have and I get from people is they want to know kind of like what's going on with the men today, right?
Mhm.
Somebody jumped in my inbox today. He was like, "Listen, in my women's group, the women are talking about it. Um, the men are, not being able to keep it up and be able to maintain, erections. And the guy she particularly was talking about was 35 years old.
Mhm.
So this is becoming a real thing, and I think we have to talk about it.
There's a lot of reasons why men can experience ED issues.
Mhm.
Um, Health, diet. Like a lot of people, just because you're 35, you may have high blood pressure, maybe diabetic, maybe some type of medication that he's taking or
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
That's one reason.
At
Um,
35.
mhm. I know people who have blood pressure problems at like 30.
Mm.
Because blood pressure, for a lot of us Black people or people of color, is genetic.
Yeah.
It's just something that you get because it's hereditary.
Hmm.
So there's that. And diabetes, of course, can be any age, right?
Hmm.
Some people have diabetes since they were kids. So those two things. It could be also maybe things they're eating, not eating enough of.
Yeah.
But sometimes as we age, our body goes through different changes.
Hmm.
So I suggest that when someone knows those things, that if it's like your husband or long term boyfriend, y'all
Hmm.
need to have a conversation and be honest and be like, okay, I know this is some changes going
Yeah.
on. Encourage him to go see a doctor, because a doctor can get to the root of the issue and come up with some solutions.
Yeah. 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 So Ashley, tell me what is some of the like most common questions that you get? Like you got a whole thing with Ash ask Ashley the questions. Sexual Ashley, they send you the questions. What are some of the most common questions?
I get a lot of questions from women on orgasm. I get a lot of questions about that. I get a lot of questions on how to ride. A lot of women
Mm.
don't feel comfortable about
Hmm.
doing that
Oh,
one.
okay. Well, hold on. Time out. Let's go back to the orgasm thing.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think is the problem with the orgasm situation overall?
I think the big issue, one is communication.
Mm,
So people are not communicating. When women are not being totally satisfied, we are not letting our partners know that we're not
mm-hmm,
being satisfied. So they think that they're doing the job, and it's not. So there's that. And then there is uh our sexual response cycle is totally different for men. So I
mm,
think men feel like they're doing what gets them off versus
mm.
what they should be doing to get their partner off.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also women not knowing exactly what gets them off too. So I can't communicate what I need if I don't even know what I need. So it was a couple things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there was a conversation about how do you feel about people who are waiting for marriage to have sex? I saw that. I saw that. that little thing you did with your eyes. You know, it's a really challenging thing. You know, because I understand it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm also hearing a lot of like stories. For instance, one lady told me, she said, "Listen, on my wedding night,
Mm-hmm.
like they came up in the grand old Church of God in Christ, you know."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, you can't join in. You got to
You
be
gotta be
born
born
in.
in. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so they came up in the church. They were kind of saving themselves a marriage, and all the missionaries told them at YPWW they keep your dress tail down and your zippers up,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like no conversation, that they didn't want to have a conversation about sex. Okay, and so they stayed together. They ended up getting married at like 19 or like 1920 or something like that. And she said on her wedding night, she called her best friend and said, "Do I have to do this every night?" She's like, "This is terrible. I waited all this time for this." And so she really felt deceived. She felt unprepared, and she felt like she was doing the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the right thing didn't happen for her. So what do you think about that?
So I understand it too. As someone who grew up in church,
Mm-hmm.
I understand the doctrine behind saving yourself for marriage. Like I get it. I grew up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think people should do what I think people should do what they feel comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally think that saving yourself for marriage is the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because when everything in life, every big purchase or big decision we make in life, we try it out, we test it out. When,
Yeah.
when we're making college decisions, we go to visit the college, right?
Yeah.
When we're
True.
buying cars, we test drive the car. When we
Mm-hmm.
buying a house, we do a walkthrough, see the house, right? Get inspected, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but every other big major decision or big decision in our life, we at least see it first.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go in it blind. So I think that the same way with marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is supposed to be a lifelong commitment. Okay. So you want to make sure all of the pieces fit,
Mm-hmm.
to include sex, right? That's a piece of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I personally believe that you should at least try it out once or twice
Mm-hmm.
before you say I do to this forever.
Mm-hmm.
Because forever is a mighty long time.
Yes.
To be with someone that you don't like having sex with. Because like
Yeah.
in marriages and relationships and other uh, uh, in relationships, you can get the other parts of your needs met through other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get the social aspect of your friends and people will talk to you and hang out with you with other people. But the one aspect that you can't or you're not supposed to, that you're only supposed to get through your mate is sex, right? And that's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
sharing or whatever. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So to make sure that that is something that I can do this for a long time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What you just talked about, like the pieces and people fitting together. We act as if it's all just naturally going to come together and just like 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 it's just going to happen. And when you think about it, there's a lot of mechanics involved, that really do have to fit for people to feel comfortable, like, yes, this is something I want to
Mhm,
continue.
mhm, mhm.
So
And if you're not going, and if you are one of the people who are not going to have sex before marriage, okay, fine. But at least have the conversation. At least like
Hmm.
talk about things that you like. What do you like, or what do you think you might be into, or
Yeah.
what type of things do you want to try? At least have a conversation if you're not going to physically do it, so
Hmm.
that you can at least see that, okay, we line up here, or ask a question like, how important is sex to you? Like, how
Hmm.
often do you want to have sex? Right, that's important.
Hmm.
If you have with somebody who want to have sex twice a month and you want to have sex twice a week, it's not. It's going to be a misalignment there.
It's gonna be a problem.
It's going to be a
It-
problem. So you need to have
yes.
a conversation. If you with somebody who if you're into all different types of kinks and trying exploring things and they just want to do missionary,
Hmm.
it's going to be a problem. So at least have a conversation if you're not
Yeah.
going to do it, so you at least can see if you're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. Can we talk about Kings for a minute?
Mhm.
I really like to look. I'm stuttering already. I'd like to talk about that because there are now more conversations that are going on, and people are as people getting older and like in our society, people are talking more about kinks and things that they desire. Like, how do you bring that conversation up to someone that you've been in a relationship with for a while? Like, all of a sudden now you want to you want to hang from the shaft from the rafters, and like you want to do everything, and they like,
Mm-mm.
no, I ain't with all that.
I think the easiest way to do that is doing like pop culture references or porn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you or someone, you and your partner watch porn, or you watch porn, um, you know, saying stuff like, I saw something or on this video that I think would kind of be, I want to get your opinion on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, when I say pop culture references, things you see in magazines or in movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can, watch a movie or be like, I saw this clip in this movie. It was very interesting. What do you think? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You phrase it like that, and then you can kind of get their take to see if they're like, curious, open,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a dead no, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're kind of open or curious, you can kind of go into, I think this kind of neat. What do you think about
Mm-hmm.
trying it? And then you can
Yeah.
kind of go that way.
Yeah. What do you do if it's just a plain no, and they're not interested in any of that. They just want vanilla, and you want sherbet and all the colors in the rainbow. How does that work? Like, what do you do?
I don't think you should pressure anyone to do anything they don't want to do,
Hmm.
right? You can have a conversation about it, try to compromise, be in the middle,
Hmm.
see if they're willing to at least compromise. Okay, so you don't want to hang from the chandeliers. Okay, so would you be willing to, do a cartwheel? You know what I'm saying? Let's
Hmm.
find something that you are willing to do, and then let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because a relationship is about give and take,
Yeah.
right? It's about compromising. So I think if you tell them what you want to do and they don't want to do that, let's find a compromise that works for both of us
Hmm.
and start there.
Hmm. Hmm. And the conversation I'm having with men is
Mhm.
the idea of getting comfortable with toys.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of men who are kind of stuck in that thought that, like, she ain't replacing me with no rose,
Right.
and all the things, oh, she all she needs is a rose and she's done. She don't
Right.
need you,
Right.
battery operated boyfriend. And
Because toys are not your competition. Think
mm,
of them that they're supposed to be like you're supposed to be collaborating together, right?
yes, yeah,
It's a
togetherness.
collaboration. It's not a competition.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of men, black men, from my experience, feel like
Hmm.
I don't know about them toys, right? So they're coming around.
And look, Ashley, and if you use them, the idea is like, maybe I'm not enough if that's what you want to use,
Mhm.
and that's just totally wrong, I believe.
It is because sex toys are made. They're machines. Okay, so
Hmm.
they are made to bring orgasm. That's the whole point of them, right?
Hmm.
So, and truth is, I or he or she or whomever can never do what a toy do, because I don't
Mm,
I don't spin around, I don't rotate, I don't vibrate. Like none of my parts do that, right?
right.
However, I think you have to be able to you can use them with your partners so that way they don't feel excluded but included. Like
Mm-hmm.
have them use it on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that way they feel like, oh, they are contributing something to the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Um, you
Should
know,
actually let me ask you something on that. Should the selection be a group decision, or if you just feel like this is something I want to get me a big whopper, and so do you think it should be a group decision?
I think it should be a group decision. I think it should be a group decision. Um, it should be a group decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my personal case, I have toys that people come send me toys at my house, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll let somebody choose a toy they want to
Okay.
try, right?
Okay.
So it should be a group decision. Either
Mm-hmm.
you can go shopping together,
Mm-hmm.
or if you have a collection, let that person pick out something they think is interesting,
Mm-hmm.
that they wouldn't be intimidated, but just don't pull out something because and then also I say start small too. You don't want to do something too big and then they ruin them forever. So
Yeah.
small, like
Come out with a
yeah, don't pull out a whole bill wine. That's a lot.
yeah.
Small, like a bullet or something like that, a finger
Mm-hmm.
vibe, something that's so they won't be intimidated, and then
Yeah.
you can work your way up the size scale later.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, you guys who are watching, look, if y'all got questions, go ahead and drop them. Ashley's in here dropping the gems in here already. So if y'all got some questions, go ahead and drop the questions, and we'll definitely take your questions. And if somebody's bold enough, look, we had a person. She's skedaddled. She she looked real closely at that title and heard what I had to say, and she's like,
No, no, no.
I ain't ready for all that. Yeah, yeah. So look, we'll get to some dating tips and advice, you guys, if that's what you want. But tonight I wanted to kind of get into this conversation because there's a lot being said and a lot not being said. There's a lot that's being done and not being talked about, and I really feel like we need to have more of this open dialogue. Just that point that we were just making about how men can feel like insecure about
Uh-huh.
the pleasure of a woman and his woman in particular, and like it can just make them feel a certain kind of way. If
Yeah.
we don't have these conversations, then how do we grow?
Right. And you have to be willing to have the hard conversations. That's how you grow, right? You have to have the hard conversations and talk about things that are uncomfortable.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So how about for give our singles who are watching some thoughts. Like what are your thoughts as far as like managing the single life? I was on the line today with a lady who's divorced and been divorced for a few years, and she's ready to get back to it. You
Mhm.
know, but she doesn't really even know how to manage, let's say, sex after divorce. So,
I don't even know if I have an answer for that because I don't even know if I'm managing a single life all that great my own self.
yeah,
I don't how to get back into dating and because
yeah. After you've been out of it for a while, how did?
it ain't nothing out here in these streets. Okay, it's nothing
Mm,
out here.
yeah,
The pickings are slim. Okay,
I
um,
disagree. I disagree.
they slim. The
It's
pickings are
not
slim.
slim.
Yes,
If you if you're not catching the fish you want, you're probably using the wrong bait and you're fishing in the wrong pond.
well, that's true. I agree with that part,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
I tell people, get on dating sites. Dating sites
Hmm.
is probably the quickest way to find a date or find someone that piques your interest.
Hmm.
But dating sites are like shopping at the thrift store.
Hmm.
You have
Can
to
be.
you got to go through, the rack to find
True.
anything of value. And sometimes you go to a thrift store, you don't see anything, and then you come back and the next week and you have a whole buggy full of stuff. So this
True.
kind of depends. You got to keep going though to find something. Keep going and searching. So
Yeah.
that's how I kind of look at dating sites. You kind of just put it out there and see what you get. It's no,
Yeah.
it's no guarantee really. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there and go on dates and stuff like that.
Okay, Ashley. So all right. So Miss let's say Miss Kiana. Let's say Miss Kiana decides, you know what, I'm going out with this guy that I
Mm-hmm.
matched up on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're gonna go out. Um, she's maybe feel some she's like feeling some chemistry with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
How does she know if she should go back to the man's place, invite the man to her place, and like, you know, do? How does she know if she's really ready for that?
How long they been? How long they gone out? How long have they been gone?
Let's say they just met on Tinder, first date. Should people have sex on the first date?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
So yes and no. So I think it's important for women that we always have to make sure that what we're doing, we're safety is key first, right?
Okay.
If you're going to have sex on the first date, bring him back to your place, so that way
Mm.
you are in control and you know all your stuff is, and you know you can kick
Mm-hmm.
him out, right? If it
Mm-hmm.
gets too much, um, I don't advise going to a man's house you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't advise that. So yeah, bring him to your house if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But safety's first. Like I think you need to build, especially with a total stranger. You need to build rapport. You know, talk to him a couple of times, see where his head is at, before you engage in sex at someone's house. Because people, men particularly, not, but people are crazy just in
Mm-hmm.
general,
Mm-hmm.
and and then you don't want to put yourself in a situation that is not good. Now, if someone you already know, y'all already have chemistry, you have history, y'all maybe just going out for the first time, and
Mm-hmm.
and y'all feel feel all the feels, sure,
Mm-hmm. All right.
do what you feel. Do what you feel. Be led by the spirit, so to say.
Okay. All right. So the next day, you know, like that night, y'all had a magical night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody was lifted with libations
Mm-hmm.
and just feeling the night, feeling themselves, feeling the night.
Uh-huh.
You go home and the phone doesn't ring.
Mm-hmm.
You go home and you wonder, maybe you even hit them up. They don't respond.
Mm-hmm.
There's constantly, you know, a couple times of engagement, but no response on the other person's hand. Like, what just happened?
Um, he didn't like you as much as you liked him.
Let's say he or she.
He or she
Yeah.
didn't like you as much as you like them.
But wait a minute, Ashley. They had sex.
Okay. Sometimes people just want to have sex. Like that's just what it is. Or they like you, then they have sex, and maybe the sex is not what they want. So they're like, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
oh
Or,
Lord,
or or
oh,
maybe maybe the sex is too much. Maybe the
right.
person is,
So
yeah.
so whatever reason, it just wasn't a match for them, and that's fine. People have the right to be like, this is doesn't work for me. I would prefer them to say it versus ghost you.
Hmm.
But after I say after you call someone or text them once and they don't respond, let it go because they got the message.
Mm. So I get that question all the time. Like how much engagement should go down before you just chalk it up and say and let it go?
Uh, I call you once or text you once,
Hmm.
and then if you don't ever respond back, I don't call again because you have my number and you got my
Hmm.
message.
Mm.
People who are interested act interested. People who want to talk to you call you back.
Okay. 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 So also as we get older, I'm having more conversations with women. There are a lot of women who just want sex,
Mhm,
you know, and traditionally that wasn't the case. We always
mhm,
thought that women wanted
mhm,
romance, and
mhm,
you know, the flowers and the candy and the wine, and they'll take that too.
mhm.
But there are a lot of women who are at that stage where they're just like, eh, you know, good time, go home.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
what do you?
you'll be surprised. I think men need to be just be honest. Like lay your cards on the table, say what it is from the beginning. Let me know what it is, and then let her or him decide if they want to, you know, play or not. Don't take
Yeah.
away somebody's choices. Let them decide if it's something they want to do, and then go from there. I think a lot of men will be surprised if they start with honesty, what
Hmm.
women will be willing to do.
Yeah. I have a conversation with the guys about this, and I tell them, I say, look, there's no reason to lie,
Mhm.
right? I know. Listen, the truth is not going to get you everything you want. Let's be honest,
That's
right?
true.
But whatever it is that you want, there's somebody somewhere who wants the same thing.
True.
You
And who will
know,
be okay with whatever your truth is.
whatever your truth is. You
Mhm.
know, I almost feel like sometimes if chemistry is sharp enough, some people will say yes to some things that they might say no to other people about.
That's true.
So yeah, so that's a good one. So how about what else you got? You got that was the first five, and I think I cut you off on the.
Ooh, I don't have five more. Let's see.
Oh yes, you do.
No,
Oh yes, you do.
I don't.
I see these things come up on the Instagram, and I'm like, wow.
I don't even have 10. Let me see.
So like something that that um in this modern time you must know about sex engagement, connecting with people. Uh, you know, what do you think?
Okay, let's see. It usually takes women somewhere about between 20-30 minutes to orgasm. That's something that people don't know. Or
Mm. Why is that?
it's just how we're wired, most of us. We have to build up to it.
Hmm.
Men, y'all can just think it and be ready to go.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
just think it, see it. That's not how it works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's not how we can see it and think it, but we have to like be warmed up. And
Hmm.
so sometimes it takes about 20-30 minutes. So when a lot of people say they don't have orgasms, it's because that whole warm up period is being missed. So we
Hmm.
know that.
Hmm. So check this out. And I want you to hold your next point. Um, so one of the things when I'm having a conversation with guys who are on that train, I say, look, you got a date this weekend, and if you tell me what your objective is, I'm not the guy who try and tell people what to do.
Okay.
Okay, you tell me what it is you want, the outcome you want, and then I'll tell you what it is. All right.
Okay.
So I remember telling one guy, I says, if you got a date this weekend, how do you what what's a win for you? He said
Mhm.
a win for me is her back at my place.
Okay.
Okay, that would be a win for me. I said, okay, if that's what you want to do. So
Mhm.
so then you gotta see the interaction. If you made the date on Monday, don't wait until Friday night when you supposed Friday during the daytime to speak to her and
Mhm.
ask her, the the date. You
Build
have
up
to
to it.
you got to build up to it.
Yeah,
So
build up.
so
Let us know what you think about us.
yeah, so my thought is the sex begins at hello.
Yes, I agree with that. Because
It begins at
because
hello.
your brain is your biggest sex organ, right?
Mhm.
So get us in the mood. Let us think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Get us hyped up. So by the time
yeah.
we see you, we like, oh yes, I'm ready. I'm excited. And that's even for like even people who are like in relationships.
Hmm.
A lot of I see a lot of women who have kids or whatever, and they're like, um, with they just don't men first. Men tell me I have friend who a lot of men who are friends who are married, and they'll be like, "Oh, the sex just dwindled, or it's not what it used to be." Right? And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Well, you have kids, and then life happens, and then so what are you? But what are you doing to contribute to um the sex? Right? You just can't expect her to do all raise the kids and do all this stuff, and then come home, watch this, and cook, and be in the
Hmm.
mood. That's a lot. That's like a lot of energy.
It is.
Like, are you sending like little cute text messages throughout the day? Or like, what are you doing to contribute to um y'all's situation?
Yeah, it's seeding.
Mhm.
Planting the seeds and let the seeds
Mhm.
grow. Ashley, listen, I was watching. Have you seen this? There's a Netflix show um, called something like "Sex Explained," something like
Mhm.
that,
Mhm. I've seen
right?
it. Mhm.
And I haven't gotten to the episode the area yet, but I was, you know how they advertise what they're going to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady said, she said, for most men, for the average man, your grandfather had like the common man has about half of the testosterone that his grandfather had.
Oh,
You know, and I that really like blew me away.
why is that? Did she? Oh, you haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't gotten to it yet. I have to know
Yeah, me too.
why this is, you know, and it made me think about what the lady was saying about the 35-year-old, like 35-year-old men, you know, in 1950 were like they were pretty
Mhm,
thorough guys, and
mhm.
they never had any kind of bedroom problems. Matter of fact, I had a great grandfather who had two families.
I think a lot of people grandfathers got two families. Mine had two families too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you'll find out you get to the funeral and you're like,
Like,
wait a minute, wait a
what?
minute. Yes, yes,
That happens a lot.
yes. And you can't tell me that the women didn't know.
No, they knew. My grandma knew.
They know.
Yeah,
They
she did.
know. They know. But he's able to somehow please both women if that's what was even going on. Because like you talked about, a lot of men would just kind of getting his and get on.
And then a lot of too, like in that situation, my grandparents was like, my grandma had 8 kids. Like, where was she going? She
He
had
ain't going nowhere.
she won't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Like so my granddaddy had kids in between her kids. So with the
Mm.
other woman. So where was she going?
Yeah.
She won't go nowhere.
Yes.
Now with 8 kids, where we going?
Not nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. Yeah, yeah.
I'm here.
And mine was the same way. I think she had like 11 or 12, and the other lady had like 6 or 7.
Yeah, where we
You
where we
know,
going?
so
So,
yeah, yeah. So but that's kind of the way we live. But yeah. So and you guys that's coming in, you got some folks that's saying what's going on to you.
hello, hello, hello.
All right. Are y'all shy tonight? Drop y'all questions in here. Man, I want to hear y'all questions in here. Let me check the Facebook side. All right. All right. My girl L Parks is watching. Hello, L. Okimi is here. What's going on? Y'all drop y'all questions in here for Ashley. Yes, yes. So Ashley, how about this? How about uh how do we get better at the talent at the what'd you call it? Um, um, you said you have to work on it. It's a skill. How do we get better at the skill of pleasing our partner?
Communicating with them. That's really it. Communicating. Talking about what is it that you need, what they need, how can they can improve, how you can improve, and just doing that. Sex
Hmm.
gets better with communication.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What if they won't communicate? Like, what if they don't talk? And there's a lot of men that don't. We're not saying that much. Like we let our body do the talking.
Um, yeah, that don't work. Like you have to be able to open your mouth and be like, I mean, it's ways to do it, but you have to first have a conversation. I call them like check in and checkups, and talk about okay, so sex, how is it? You can word it differently.
Hmm.
Is there something that I need to it's something that I need to do differently. How is it? Check in, and they'll pick when you ask someone how is it going. A man's gonna pretty much tell you. They'll be like, oh, it's good. It's okay. You can do this a little bit different. I mean, they'll tell you if you
Hmm.
ask. I think a lot of people just don't ask.
Yeah.
And how can I improve, or how can I make sex better? Ask your
Yeah.
partner that. Start there first with you. Ask him
Hmm.
how you can make it better. See what he says, right?
Hmm.
And then after that you lead with what he can do better. But I always say you start with one thing first.
Hmm.
I used to be a teacher, so I learned in education when you're critiquing a student, you always start with the positive, right?
Hmm.
you know Little Johnny, I love that you come in class and you sit down. I don't have to call your name, right? However, you know I would like it if next time when you came to my class you brought a pencil, You know what I'm saying? So you
Mm-hmm.
start with whatever they're doing positive.
Okay. Positive reinforcement.
There you go. And then you go
Okay.
to then you do one thing, just one thing, because you don't want to overload people with all the negative stuff, berate them
Okay.
with all these
Yeah,
negative.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Make a positive what do you call it? Positive sandwich.
Right. And then you do one thing about what they can do differently or better. I love it when you kiss on my neck. I think I said, but next time I would like it more if you did X, Y, and Z. So that
Mm-hmm.
way, so they know, okay, so she loves this. I'm gonna keep doing that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I'm just gonna add this to it for it to even be an even better experience.
All right. Good, good, good. Look, we got a good question here. Lashandra is asking, would you advise someone to end a relationship if the sex wasn't good? And wait a minute, I heard your answer to this on TikTok and I laughed. I cracked up.
So my friend I have a friend, right? In
Okay.
my advice column, they always say, you always tell everybody to leave, right? I'm always like, girl, now, so
That
it's a few things that go into that.
okay.
Okay. So one, um, it depends on how invested you are in the relationship. So there's
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
Two, it depends on if you tried to make it better and it's not working. Because, like I said before, because compatibility is a thing. Sometimes we try and it still don't work. Okay, so
Hmm.
there's two. Um, Three, I think it matters if it's how important is good sex to you.
Hmm.
So those three things is what matter. So how you answer those questions will determine based on what I would tell you.
How important sex is to you? So if somebody
How
says,
important is good sex? Some people like they can it's they okay with mediocre sex. It don't bother them because sex not that important. So it's like
hmm,
okay, whatever. It's
hmm,
good. You know what I'm saying? So because the other things outshine that. Like
yeah,
for some people they like the fact that security wins. Okay,
hmm,
so they don't really care about the sex. As long as he
right,
put all these bills up in here, I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Said they're paying bills to make me horny.
Right. So it depends on what you like and what you value and what number of value it is to
Hmm.
you. So
Hmm.
there's that. And like I said, if that and if you think it can't be improved upon or not, some things can't be improved upon. Some things you try it don't work. So if it's
Hmm.
not if sex is important to you, like if it's a six or higher,
Hmm.
if what you're doing you don't feel can be improved upon, and if the relationship is, you're not married to them,
Hmm.
so I would find somebody else probably.
What if you are married to them?
Well, then
And,
there's,
and
well, what marriage is a little different because you got legal paperwork. Okay,
hmm,
so I would if we marry, so we're forced to try to make it work because I don't
hmm,
married you now.
hmm,
So there's things like sex therapists that you can
hmm,
go to and try to figure out if it's a solution. But sometimes even that don't work. Like I know people who marry and it just sex don't work.
hmm.
And that leads to other issues.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it
That
does.
we will not talk about, but leads to other issues.
Hmm.
So if you're married, it's best to see the tribe you can come to a happy medium. So
Hmm.
somebody that we both are okay with before
Yeah.
other factors come into play.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like what you said about people making the decision based on their lives. Because it's easy to tell people to cut bait and run, but you could be potentially cutting bait on a good
Good.
partner who just is not educated on how to please you. So I got
Yes.
so look, actually, I got this video that I did on TikTok, and I said, you might have to be prepared to teach a man how to love you.
Mhm.
What's your thought about that?
Well, I like I said before, I think sex is teachable. Right? It's
Hmm.
a, it's, it's a teachable skill.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have to teach whoever it is anyway. I mean, the
Hmm.
basics we all got, right? But you're gonna have to teach every time you have a new partner. You're gonna have to teach them what you like,
Hmm.
how to do it per, it's just not, this has come automatic, because what worked for James might not work for Henry, what worked for
Hmm.
Sheila might not work for Lisa. So
Right.
you have to be open to sharing and showing your partner anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's going into it thinking it's going to be, like I said, going to be automatically going to be amazing every time. The first couple of times, I think, is um delusion.
Mm.
I don't think that's not how it works.
Yeah. 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 That's tough. But I like that. So, what about this person? And thank you, Lashonda, for that great question, Lysandra, for that great question. So the sex isn't good. How do you actually have that conversation and just because this is all like it's kind of easy for us to sit here and like tell people to do some of this stuff and have these conversations, but these conversations are connected to emotions.
They are.
They're connected to sometimes to trauma, to people's background, to all these things, you know, and sometimes even feelings of not feeling enough,
Mm-hmm.
not feeling worthy enough. So like how do you have these conversations?
I, I'll just point blank have them. There are, but there are like things you can ease into the conversation. Like they have like these conversation games now. There's a lot of conversation games around sex and
Mm,
relationships and just different relationship stuff all together. Well, like it's card games. You pull a card, has a topic, you talk about it. That's a real less intimidating way to have discussions with your partner,
yeah,
in a fun way. That's probably the number one way I would suggest.
yeah. All right. I don't know if this guy is trolling, but I'm gonna give him a shot. Ashley, can you do relationships with white men? Or let me turn that around and say, what's your thoughts on interracial dating and can it work?
Yeah, I think I think people love who they love.
Hmm.
I think it could work.
Hmm.
Me personally, I never dated a white man.
Would you?
At this rate, I guess I'm open to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was talking to somebody about this just recently, and they were like, one of the problems is people fetishize
Hmm.
people. So I can imagine you with your pretty brown skin and your shaved head and your flashy glasses and like
Hmm.
your whole Ashley personality can be a little attractive to somebody. But I wonder if they're attracting they're attractive to you for to get to know you as
Hmm.
opposed to like this it could almost be almost like a cartoon character or some person in them, you know what I mean?
That's the issue I've had with just men, period, black men. You know, I think people, because of what I do, they like the idea of me
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
versus more so than trying to get to know me. So that's been like a, a huge thing
yeah,
um, for me. But yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe white men, maybe could
maybe,
be.
maybe,
Yes, my girl Stephanie's checking in. What's going on, Steph? Thank you so much for joining the show. So, all right. So, look, who's coming up? Who's ready to come on up? Who's brave enough
you
to
had
come on
someone
up?
earlier they left.
Say it again.
You had someone earlier they left.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She couldn't take the heat already. So that she
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. She was hoping to have some more conversation about dating and get some dating pointers and she would I was gonna give her that, but uh she didn't she wanted to skip this part first.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's get to some more of these questions that are, let's say, frequently asked questions of you, because I'm sure you get the questions. Um, what are some more questions that I may have not asked that people really want to know?
Uh, uh, What questions? I get a lot of questions on like how to use toys properly. People want to know that, how to
Mhm.
incorporate that in the bedroom.
Mm.
Um, I get questions on what to do with the whole mismatch libido thing.
Mm.
That's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Mismatch a little bit libido, meaning one person is high, one person is low.
Mhm.
Talk about that.
In situation like that, I think you just have to come to a compromise. And just if someone likes to have sex every day,
Hmm.
and I can have sex twice a week,
Hmm.
let's come to a happy medium. Let's do
Yeah.
4 times. Let's do 4 times a week,
Okay.
or maybe three,
Hmm.
right? And just stick to a schedule. We have sex no less than 3 times a week.
Yeah.
That's our agreement. And then I have to live up to whatever I agree to. So then
Yeah. 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 And so how do you stop it from being a chore? Because that sounds chorey.
it does. And sometimes it is a chore, right? Like people. I tell people like sometimes when busy couples, they have to write it on the calendar. We have schedule 6, right?
Schedule sex.
Schedule 6. Um, sometimes the truth is I might not feel like doing this today,
Hmm.
but I'm going to do it because this one is what my partner needs.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, but then you gonna act like you don't want to do it, which makes me not want to do it.
I me ain't gonna want to do it.
You know what I'm saying? Like don't nobody want no starfish.
Well, it don't have to be a starfish, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it don't have to be a starfish. I mean, be a little enthused with it, but a little bit. But sometimes truth is, it's not gonna be exciting every time you have sex. It's
yeah,
just not. It's not gonna be. It's just not. Some days it's like, okay, let's get in, let's get out. Like sometimes it's just gonna be that way because
yeah,
life and stuff happens. So it's not gonna be all romantic every time we have sex. It's just not.
hmm,
That's just the truth.
yeah. But then if it's what's the opposite of romance?
Mm.
A regular, stale, boring, corny.
Well,
And if you was just like, okay, let us now have sex.
and I do think that it's important for couples, long term couples, to you know spice things up
Hmm.
occasionally,
Hmm.
regularly, do things something different,
Hmm.
like once a month, do something, something, have like a little position jar or something. Do something once a month that's different than what you normally been doing. But
Hmm.
every day regular sex, it's not gonna always be.
Yeah, yeah. Wait a minute. I kind of like that thing you just mentioned, position jar. Tell me
Mhm.
more about that.
Oh, or just you can just do like get a Kama Sutra book or something like that,
Hmm.
or put different things you want to try in a jar or something, and just once a month or once a week or however y'all want to do it, pick something and do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whatever you pick is what you do.
Interesting. Interesting. That's a gem right there. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we got a couple of questions. Do you believe that toys can complicate sex within a relationship?
No, how
Hmm.
complicate how?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Hold on one second, Ashley. My computer looks like it's
Okay.
getting ready to die, and I don't know why. Uh, okay, okay. You said complicate how? That's a good question. That's my girl LV. LV, what do you mean by complicate?
No, that was Marcus.
Yeah, that's she's using
Oh,
that's
okay.
sharing an account. But the shell's here. She loved that idea of the drawer, the jar, the position jar. Interesting. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Many men are more inhibited than they like to admit. That's true. That is very true.
Many men are more inhibited than they like to admit.
That's true.
Let me. I need to kick that around for a minute to see how true that really is.
It's true. I date men. It's true.
More inhibited than they would admit.
They're not. They're not. Men are not as open as they claim to be.
Hmm.
Black men. I'll say that. That's the ones
All
I date.
right, give me an example.
They just not like men.
Because I can't. Go ahead.
Men think being freaky is like licking booty or something. Oh, I lick booty. I'm freaky. Like that's or we do doggy style. That's freaky. Like they are not as open or they're not as adventurous, I would say, as they let on to be. Like I think men in most cases have had more experiences than women, but those experiences have been just regular experience. Just because you have more bodies doesn't mean that you're more open. Just mean you have more bodies. That's all it means.
Yeah. Interesting. Michelle said they are scared that vibrator is going to replace them instead of enhance the situation.
Correct.
Good stuff. And that's something that I tell the guys. I say, listen, that thing can't hug her, can't hold you, can't kiss you. I mean, and it's an inanimate object,
Yeah.
So
It's just an object. That's all it is.
yeah. All right. L said they don't like over sexualized wives or girlfriends, but they okay with that jump off.
I think most black men are church adjacent. Even the ones who don't go to church or have a church background, they church adjacent. Like they want you to be this Virgin Mary, right?
Yeah.
Madonna
whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they want you to, not. They want you to be, to be able to do all the things they want to do, but they only want you to do it with you, only with them. So I'm like, well, it's interesting.
I'm still kind of stuck on that though. They don't like over sexualized wives. Interesting.
Yep, church adjacent. Black men are church adjacent.
I don't know if I've ever heard that term, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yes. So here's what my girl LV said. She said, make a partner lazy or overstimulate certain areas, causing difficulty when they naturally stimulate it. So yes. So essentially, can you use toys too much?
Yes and no. So you can use a toy. If you use a toy regularly, your body will get used to that sensation, that particular sensation that helps you to climax, right? So the workaround with that is to don't use your toy as much, or have your partner use your toy on you. Boom, solution solved.
Yeah. But that that area is still being stimulated by the toy. So whether you're using it by yourself or they're using it with you, it's still being stimulated and could, I think, over time, lose the.
You're not gonna lose sensation. You're not gonna lose it. You might. It might be harder for you to orgasm naturally. Because you're used to vibrations or whatever toy you're using, but you're not gonna lose sensation. If you lose sensation, then you need to stop because something's wrong, or you're not using lube or something. So that's something's wrong there. But you're not gonna lose sensation because you use a vibrator every week.
I'm talking about every day.
Every day either. You're not gonna lose sensation. It just may get harder for you to orgasm with a partner.
Which defeats the purpose.
No, it doesn't, because you can use a vibrator with your partner. There's a whole bunch of couple vibrators, and there's other areas to stimulate other than my clitoris. I have other hot spots that you can focus on.
True.
And so there's other spots. Because most of the time, I'm not orgasming for penetration anyway. So I'm gonna need something anyway.
True words. So let's talk about since we're talking about toys. If and you already said they should decide together what it is. there's a big market for toys for women, but not much for men.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think men are intimidated by sex toys, so I think it hasn't been a market for them because because men, okay, society hasn't really taught men to be able to explore. Women have been uh, taught by society to explore their sexuality for years, right? It's been marketed to us for years. Oh, try a sex toy or do this, do that. Men have not had that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. So they didn't know that sex toys was a thing for them because it hasn't really been a thing that people have been doing.
Yeah.
There's sex toys now in the last probably 20 years or so. There's
Mm-hmm.
sex toys probably more like 10 years. There's sex toys for men on the market, but it's not as many of them because the whole sex toy market has been marketed to women because we are
Yeah.
the ones who have been uh, taught to explore and try new things. Men are
Yeah.
just stick it in and go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess porn has been
Mhm.
marketed towards men.
Yeah, porn is y'all thing.
Yeah.
Sex toys more so been ours.
Yeah, yeah. So, can we talk a little bit about? I get this question often about poly relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and like of course, it's always kind of known that it's generally a guy's the most popular fantasy for men,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm having conversations with some guys who really want to go in that direction and want to have more than one woman in their life in their bed. So what's your thoughts on polyamorous relationships?
First of all, I know people who are in poly relationships, right? Poly relationships, when done correctly, can work fine. That's the
Hmm.
first thing. I'm not. I don't dislike them.
Hmm.
I will say this though: men who want poly relationships have to be able. So poly is more than just having sex with multiple people.
Hmm.
Okay, that's what I want men to understand. It's having multiple relationships, right?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have to be able to give, emotionally, physically, financially, whatever, all that, whatever you give in a relationship, you have to be able to
Hmm.
do that times two or
Yeah.
times three or
Yeah.
times however many women you want.
Hmm.
So a lot of people, men and women, have a hard enough time doing that with one person,
Yes.
right? We have a hard enough time doing it with one person. So now you're trying to do that across the board, and you haven't even figured out girlfriend number one or boyfriend number one yet.
Hmm.
Right, and then
Hmm.
you trying to do it. So that's my thing when I hear men talk about it, like they look at it from a whole sex point. No, because you can have sex with multiple people,
You're right.
but that's not what poly is. Poly is about having multiple relationships, not about sex. It's a
Hmm.
difference.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you're able to have multiple ongoing relationships, then sure, try it, do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. One of the things I tell the guys is, you think you do, right? But until you are understand like all of the talking, like most men don't really want to do that much talking anyway. But
Mhm.
all of the conversations that got to be had, and the all the tending to emotions, and from each one of these people,
Yeah,
and it is much more than you just think. You like
yeah, it's,
the,
it's it's a lot more complicated than you think it is.
yeah, yeah, the porn movie make it look easy, but they only show you one part.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When I hear men say that, I'm like, y'all not doing that great of a job with the one girlfriend you got or the one wife you got. So let's just figure that out first before we start adding more people in the mix.
Fact. All right, my girl L says men don't really want that. They want to sleep with multiple women, but don't want their woman to physically experience another man.
Facts.
Hmm.
But I have friends who are male, and they want to be open or whatever that is, but they want their woman to be monogamous. Sorry, that's not how this works. That's what- I mean, if someone wants to do that, like I know people who are poly, but their partners are monogamous because that's what the partner chose to do,
Hmm.
but it wasn't a requirement from him. It's
Okay.
what they just like. Okay, I know this is what we're open, but I don't want to explore. I want to just be, I just want to be monogamous. Cool beans. That's what you want to do, but they know they have the option to
Hmm.
explore as well if they want to. Some men they want to do all the exploring but want you to be home by and not explore it all. That's not how that works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I don't think that people really know what they really want and how that's really going to shake out for them.
Yeah, they do.
Uh, all right, good one, good one, good one. So how about so we talked about poly, we talked about kind of couples. If somebody's in a situation where they are hoping, let's say um, hoping to meet somebody, even from some place like meeting people on at work. How do you think people should manage those situations? Should you stay away from workplace romances?
What's saying go? You shouldn't shit where you eat. Here's that. I don't think you should be dating people where you work, 'cause that can get messy.
Yeah,
It can get messy real quick.
yeah.
And I have to see you every day, so let's just not.
Hmm. Uh, Chandra said, "I wonder if the male ego will allow for it for real." You told me that to have
That
poly
kind
with
of
it.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we say we can.
Y'all say y'all can until you're actually doing it, and then you like you catch feelings. No, you don't want to do it with nobody else. Then you should shut it
Hmm.
down quick because
Hmm. 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 Yeah, there's people have unrealistic ideas. Men have unrealistic ideas about women. They want virgin whores,
We do.
and women want faithful millionaires.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Yes, you talk about poly relationships. Yes, yes, yes. So, how about if something else comes to mind? Like, what else comes to your mind that people are asking you questions about?
Um, mm, um, I think touched on all the ones that people ask me about the most.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. All right. Well, give our let's start with the singles, right? Give our singles some advice on navigating their kind of the sex life situations. Like for instance, like do you believe in that singles should date more than one man? Single women,
mhm,
because single men don't
mhm,
have a problem with dating more than one woman, but
mhm,
single women, like
mhm,
I suggested it on one of the videos, and some
mhm.
of the people was like, "No," the ladies like, "I can't focus on more than one guy at a time," and
Over time, they weed themselves out anyway.
hmm,
So it's gonna be one standard anyway, because they're gonna
yeah,
weed themselves out. It just naturally happens that way.
yeah,
Like you can go on a date with one guy and then go on a date with another guy. It's just a
mhm,
date, so it don't mean like we're dating. It's just a date.
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
as the conversation builds with this one and that one, you're gonna naturally lose interest, and someone's gonna limit themselves anyway.
Hmm. So you like the idea of rotational dating for women?
It makes sense. Yes, you should not be stuck on one person who's not stuck on you.
Hmm.
You should not put all your boo eggs in one boo basket.
Okay. All right. All right. So rotational dating. So now, what if they want to? I didn't hear you say just make sure you're not sleeping with them. You didn't say that.
Because people do what they want to do. They grown. Just be safe. If that's what you want to do, just be safe. Wear condoms, please. If you're gonna be
Mhm.
swapping um, multiple partners, but if
Yeah,
you want to, you grown.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. How about advice for the guys? What's some advice that you would give single males in this in this in these sex streets?
Oh, yeah, I don't even know. Men are not my market. I, 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 everything you're doing, don't do that. Okay, let's start.
Yeah,
I don't know. I,
yeah. Well, one thing I would tell the guys, and I've coached a couple of guys on this. They would go to, let's say they're going out to a lounge or something.
mhm.
I tell them, look, if you're coming here to meet women, meet women. Get off the wall. Don't go, start meeting women. If she don't want to talk, you go to the next one. It's a numbers game,
Mm-hmm.
and you get your numbers up, and you're more likely to be successful in whatever you call success.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
yeah. Oh. Elle said, "Take care of your member."
That's true too.
All right? If you want it to last a lifetime, don't abuse your body. All right, all right. Okay, so how about couples now? What kind of advice would you give couples tonight? Somebody who pops in, watches this, and they want to either fix their love life, their sex life, or they want to just kind of enhance it. Like, what are some writer downers that they could do?
First you need to communicate. Like I said, communicate first. That's the first thing. Talk to your partner. Let them know what your issue is, or what are you feeling, or what you want to try. That's the first thing. Most people have problem in a relationship because the other person doesn't know. They're not
Mm-hmm.
mind readers. So you have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Honest communication is what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you determine if if it's a deeper issue,
Mm-hmm.
then go see a therapist. There's sex therapists, there's regular therapists, like marriage therapists that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from there. That's what I say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about getting away? You like the idea of was that hotel sex and
That's something you can spice it up. Hmm.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because like you said earlier, like long term relationships could be difficult because they do get stale, they do get
Hmm.
boring. On that show that I was talking about, that was on Netflix, they said that they tied brain waves. They hooked the men up to brain waves
Hmm.
and watched how they got more excited when something new, newness stimulated them, and so you know even more so than women. You
Hmm.
know, so a lot of the challenges that men have sometimes, I guess, with you
Stuff
know,
is old.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, and they need something new. They need something
Hmm.
fresh, something interesting. But then I tell them, you do it. You do it. You
True.
set it out. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true. You
and
can't put it all on a woman. So yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, cool, cool, cool. Y'all got some more questions? Drop y'all questions. Anybody, if y'all have some more questions for Ashley in here, sex with Ashley. Yes, y'all drop y'all questions if y'all got some more. But yeah, well, that's cool. So if people are interested in working with you, how do they connect with you? How do they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Sex with Ashley, or go to my website, which is sexwithashley.com.
Okay, okay. You do live events and all that sort of stuff, or what
Mm-mm,
do you do?
mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't do live events. If someone like pay me to host an event, I'll do that. But I don't have live events of my own. No.
Okay, okay. You do products as well.
There's a toy store on my website
Okay.
that you can purchase from. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, look, y'all go out and follow Ashley. She's doing her thing. She's and look, I forgot that I guess I can't let this go by and without having you say whether because I know people who saw you on the show
Mhm.
think that you probably got on the show to try to build your brand.
I did.
So tell people maybe how you got on the show, why you got on the show before I let you go.
I had a whole brand before the show. A whole brand. I got on the show because one of the castmates on the show wanted me to be on the show. That's what
Okay.
happened. They inboxed me. He's like, I think this would be cool for you to do.
Uh-huh.
But I was in it. I was new to Atlanta. I was
Where you
single.
from?
North Carolina,
Okay. What part?
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So he's like, I thought it'd be cool for you to do. So I signed on to do the show. It had nothing. I had a whole brand before the show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't just start yesterday.
No, I've known for
Let me
six
take you
years.
out. Okay. Good, 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 good. That's it. That's what's up. North Carolina. All right. Well, good, good. You guys, y'all reach out to Ashley. People can book one-on-ones with you.
Yeah, I do. Because like I said, I'm a sex advice person. So you can either email me if you want. You can email it and it'll be in my column on Mab Noir, or you can book a phone conversation with me and we can talk.
All right. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all. Well, look, this is our show. I appreciate y'all coming through. Yeah, of course, you can get with me. I do one-on-ones, and I can help you to kind of figure out what's going on, what you want in your relationship, and this is how we do it. This is what we do. So glad you guys came through, came and been just to be a part of what we have going on tonight. So thank y'all so much for being here. Ashley, hang out for a minute. But you guys, thank y'all so much for being here. Appreciate that you guys checking in and being a part of the show. So till next time, peace and love. Later.